Eddie, just a quick one on the Devin Haney, Sandor Martin situation. No bid made from Matchroom. Wasn't that long ago you were saying you want to work with Devin for the rest of his career. What happened?
Nothing really. I mean, we have no contractual obligation to Devin Haney. Just like he has a free agent and has been and is talking to other people, he will do what suits him and we will do what suits us. If you don't pledge your loyalty to us, if we don't have an obligation to lose money on your fights, we're not going to be queuing up to do so. Devin Haney against Sandor Martin is not a fight that will provide commercial success for anybody around the levels required to win that fight. Do I want to lose $1 million on Devin Haney against Sandor Martin? No, thank you very much. I will do if I have a contractual obligation and you've pledged your loyalty towards me. Devin Haney also has Devin Haney Promotions, who, you know, it's all very nice having your logo on a backdrop, but are you prepared to stick your money and your balls on the line? The answer, as we saw, was no. So, nothing personal. I mean, I like Devin and I'll try and help him and I'll work with him where I can, but at the end of the day, I'm not just going to lose money on a show when you're not with me, you know, and we may work together. I mean, I spoke to Devin Haney's lawyer the night before the purse bids. We wanted to make Liam Paro against Devin Haney in a unification. And I said, speak to WBC, come back to me, let me know, we'll talk to the zone about it. But he's never heard back from him. So, you know, I don't see why we should be obliged to bid. So, you know, and I don't think it's a bad fight for Devin, to be honest with you. But we will try and still make the Liam Paro fight.
You had said previously that the input from the zone was part of the reason a bid hadn't been made from Matchroom. Devin and Ryan were outspoken in criticising Golden Boy alongside the zone for not having received payment for their fight. Did that have anything to do, you think, from the input from the zone of not being able to work with Devin again?
No, definitely. I think the zone would be more than happy to work with Devin again. But that fight was not of interest. So, you know, Paro against Devin Haney in Brisbane, you know, on a favourable time zone, I'm sure that one will be of interest, or it might be of interest, but no, nothing about, you know, I mean, the obligation on the contracts is the promoter to pay the fighters. And I also do not believe in a million years that Golden Boy have not carried out their obligations to pay the fighters. But sometimes fighters have grand delusions of what a fight has generated and how much money they're going to get paid. Because sometimes they get bluffed and they get lied to on the potential of a fight commercially. Unfortunately, the commercial reality of Haney-Garcia is nowhere near the deluded expectations of some people. And when they get their paycheck, even though I told them what their paycheck would probably be, and I was within 5 or 10% as always, they were told otherwise. And that is probably why they're not happy, and they will continue to be not happy when they realise there actually ain't a lot left.
Eddie, what was your reaction to Gervonta versus Frank Martin over the weekend?
I haven't watched the fight. I saw the knockout. I think Gervonta's a big star. Very entertaining. I mean, he carried that whole promotion. He's changed quite a lot, really. I think he's become a lot more articulate. I think he's become a lot more commercially savvy, even though he didn't turn up to the arrivals, which is never ideal. But he's carrying the whole promotion himself. Like, there's no promoter. So he's having to do all the speaking, he's having to do all the entertaining, the interaction. And he's very heavy-handed. I hope that we can see him in some big fights, you know. I don't think his resume can be so much better. And I think he has the ability to beat all of those guys, maybe. But I would love to see him fight Teofimo, to fight Shakur, to fight Devin. I mean, that's, you know, he has a real opportunity to be a great among his time. Lomachenko, I know he's old, but still a good fight, you know?
Yeah, about that Lomachenko fight, how do you see that fight playing out? As that is the most likely fight that is about to get made, yeah. And do you think, like you said, does age play a factor in that fight?
Definitely. But Lomachenko is a very good fighter. Tank's just very heavy-handed. Yeah, I remember watching him win his first world title against Pedraza, and I was ringside, and you could see the power. I mean, back then he was down at featherweight, or super featherweight, or whatever it was, featherweight, I think. And he's just very, very heavy-handed, and he's got good ring IQ as well. So I think he's a big favourite to beat Lomachenko. But you know, Tank does lose rounds. If you look at all of those fights, you know, against Ryan Garcia, against Barrios, Isaac Cruz, Frank Martin, he loses a lot of rounds, but he relies on his power and he finds a way.
Yeah, and speaking about Shakur, obviously that's also a massive fight that people want to see, Gervonta versus Shakur. Shakur's last fight on his deal, supposedly with Top Rank, going to free agency next. Have you had any conversations, and are you looking to pick up Shakur after that last fight?
I think, as you've seen with the Devin stuff, obviously it has to suit you as well. If Shakur wants to pledge his future, then you make a significant investment. If it's a 2-3 fight deal, then he's going to be getting a lot of money, and it's got to work for you as well. I think Shakur is pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world. He may be unbeatable, maybe. He's that good, but I think he's been promoted terribly. And I think some of that is because when Bob knows a fighter's looking to leave, he's out. Like, this probably happened 2 or 3 fights ago, because Bob would have looked to extend back then. Bob doesn't look to extend now with 1 fight to go, because you've got no leverage to change the purses. So once he knew that Shakur wasn't going to extend, he's made his mind up. He's out. I'm not going to push him. So Shakur should be a massive star, but he's not. So that works for and against as well, in a sense that commercially, the money he's on a lot of money. A lot of money. For the revenue that he creates for the show, he's on a lot of money. But he hasn't been pushed to make him a commercial success. So I like him. I think he's a great fighter. I think he would be an incredible addition to the Matchroom team. And if he's available, we will definitely be having a conversation. Whether it works for both of us, we'll have to see.
You said Bob, that you're not willing to pay what he's paying Shakur. Is that true?
I said to him, he mentioned Shakur, and I said, I'm not paying him the money you're paying him, Bob. And he went, wow. So, yeah.
Massive fight week in Birmingham. I mean, massive main event. Felix Cash finally challenging for the European title.
Yeah, it's a great card. I mean, I love the main event because I think for Felix, it's absolute must win. At one stage he was on the verge of fighting for a world title. Great win over Denzel Bentley. Went off the rails, had a huge period of inactivity, 18 months, and it's going to be a very tough fight to come back into. Because, coming into the backyard, Tyler Denny's a professional fighter, as in, he goes about his work economically, professionally in the camp, and he'll be well prepared for this fight. And a lot of this is going to come down to, I think, the work of Adam Booth, not just in camp, but the mentality of Felix going into the fight. A very tough fight. I think it's a 50-50 fight, and a good one. And Conor Walker against Lewis Crocker, brilliant fight. I mean, exactly the kind of fights that we should be seeing, and more than often you don't see, because Lewis Crocker goes, I'm not going to Birmingham to fight him, and Conor Walker goes, I'm on a run now, I'm not gambling against Lewis Crocker. So great fight. Love Shannon Ryan against Emma Dolan. I think it's a tremendous fight. Although we lost Jordan Flynn, I like the Jeff Afori fight. Fair play to him for stepping up. And Aki Fairs against Kane Baker, Hamza Uddin, just a great night of boxing.
Definitely as well. I want to move on to Bob Aron's comments about Inui at Magdalene as well, possibly fighting TJ Dehaney instead. I mean, but MJ's in a great position regardless as well.
He is, but at the end of the day, MJ's already been world champion. He's been unified world champion. He's got no interest in becoming world champion again in meaningless fights. What drives me mental about Bob Arum is he's a liar. Right? I mean, the other day he was saying he didn't really know anything about Subriel Matisse. I mean, he's boxed on top ranking cards. Bob watches every fight, right? I've never heard of Akhmadaliev. Come on. But let's be honest. And I feel bad because I like TJ Dehaney. Someone tweeted me the other day, TJ Dehaney was a good fighter when he was with you. That was 5 years ago he got beat to Daniel Roman, right? 5 years ago. The only fight in the division that is competitive for Inoue is Akhmadaliev, right? So I'm appealing to Bob Arum, to Mr. Honda, to Naoya Inoue. Don't give us a mismatch, because I'm sorry, TJ Dehaney against Naoya Inoue is a horrendous mismatch. Let's be honest. And TJ's a good fight. He's a good fight. He's been a world champion. Don't fucking lie to us. The only fight that's competitive is Akhmadaliev. He's the mandatory. Make the fight. And fight fans, rather than just praising Naoya Inoue, who's an amazing fighter, don't take this bullshit. Please. There's no excuse not to fight Akhmadaliev. It's a great fight. And Sam Goodman and that, with all due respect, they can't beat him. And I'm not even saying that Akhmadaliev can beat him, but I'll tell you what, he's got a better chance than anybody, and he will give you a great fight.
Definitely is the best fight in the division as well. With all the massive fight cards, Eddie, I feel like I really forgot that Estrada versus Jesse
Yeah.
Rodriguez is next week, but a massive fight card in Phoenix next week.
Yeah, great card. I mean, obviously everyone, loves the fight with Estrada against Bam. You've also got Sonny Edwards against Curiel on that fight, which I think is a great fight. You've got Mercado against Ramla Ali, Cardenas in a great fight, so it's a really, really good night of boxing. And of course, after that, you've got Johnny Fisher. We're nearly up to 6,000 at the Copper Box for Johnny Fisher against Babbage. We're going to be sold out. It's going to be unbelievable. And then back to Philadelphia for Boots against Avanesian. He looked very well here today, actually. So, yeah, it's a big run coming up, and really looking forward to Phoenix next week.
Any press conference next week for the Wembley show? Will we have another promotional video? They've gone down really well.
No. We don't know who we're fighting yet. That's the reality. We
saw
have.
Zile Zhang doing a bit of filming for some promo that looked pretty high value.
No, I mean, we want to fight Daniel Dubois for the World Heavyweight title. That's what we want to do. No contract agreed yet, other than an existing contract, but there's got to be some changes that he's, we're talking to His Excellency and everybody about. We're working hard with His Excellency, with Frank Warren, with Spencer Brown, to build the card, get the main event. Of course, AJ headlining in Wembley would be the one. But we'll see. That's what we're working towards. Hopefully it'll all get done and announced next Wednesday in London.
Who's more likely to stay, Zhang or Dubois?
If it's for the World Heavyweight title, definitely Daniel Dubois.
But even if it's for the interim, surely that would be the quickest route to a world title for AJ
Maybe.
anyway, because
Not
it's
really.
the next mandatory, do you not think?
Not really. Mandatories, I mean, at that level, can take a year, so... but, you could fight Zile Zhang for the interim. You could fight Daniel Dubois for the interim. You could fight Joseph Parker for the interim WBO. You could fight Zile Zhang, so I'm not really that interested in interim world titles. So, but the IBF should on paper be available, but we'll see.
Eddie KSI looks like he's going to be fighting Slim and Anthony Taylor in a 2 versus 1. A bit of an odd matchup, but what do you make of that? And do you think should he not just be fighting Slim in a 1-on-1 rather than...
I don't know, it's all crazy, isn't it? But that's what they have to do. But the good thing about that sort of influencer boxing, it's gone so far the other way to the obscene, to the gimmick, that at least people know it's not real boxing. Do you know what I mean? And you can't even promote it as real boxing if it's a tag team matchup. Let's be honest. I like Slim. I think he's a very nice man, and I think he works very hard, and I think he's awkwardly good. Do you know what I mean?
Who wins if it's a 1-on-1, him and KSI?
Oh, KSI's a good athlete. He's very awkward. I mean, he's very hard to beat. I don't know what the weight difference is, but KSI seems bigger than Slim. Is it? Yeah, I know.
10 pounds.
I think Slim is just sneaky good. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know, but I'm sure about sometimes you push these gimmicks so hard you end up making a mistake when you don't really need to. Do you know what I mean? If you get beat in that matchup, for what? Because I don't know, but you got me on that one.
Eddie, you're a man of first, people seem to say. First to notice the move to streaming platforms, straight on it. First to notice the impact of YouTubers, brought millions of eyes to the sport. And obviously the first kind of broker a major deal in Saudi Arabia. How do you kind of think about that? How do you broker new adventures?
I think when you get to a position and people want to make a move, they look at the market and they look at the people who they're dealing with. So reputationally, we're in a good place. And I think if someone was going to want to work with a promoter on a new initiative in a new market, they'd probably choose us. So the YouTube stuff was more about timing. They did the first one, I thought it was going to be a disaster, and I saw how big it was and thought, we'll get involved with that. Streaming was different, Streaming was something that we've just recognised for a long period of time was changing. I remember having the first conversations with fighters where I would have to go and convince them to leave Showtime or leave HBO for DAZN. And they were like, what is DAZN? And I was telling them about it's this new app that's going to change the way people watch boxing. And they're like, what? And you imagine all the others going, you're going to go on an app, right? You're going to leave Showtime and you're going to go on an app with this guy from England. And a lot didn't, but some did. And now everything's on the app, including PBC.
Yeah.
With Canelo and other events as well. So, I don't know really. Just a lot of life's about luck. You've got to be smart, but timing's everything.
And a lot of people's opinions, you are one of the best promoters in the world. People say that you could sell bread to a baker, you sell water to a fish. People say you can sell 200,000 miles in a car, somebody walk out happy. How much do you think your personality has to do with like the success of Matchroom and the success of you as a promoter?
Yeah, I think if you have a passion for what you do and you're a good salesman, then you're in a great position. It's Walter Emerson, I think, someone who said, sales is a transfer of emotions. So when I'm selling you something, if I'm excited, if I believe in it, I'm going to do a much better job. I've always said, I'm not academically a genius, I'm not, this super smart guy, but I'm an unbelievable salesman. And that's my greatest asset. So anybody that's out there chasing a career at a young age, make sure you work on your sales skills, because across every single industry, sales is key, not just if you work in sales.
And how much do you think that Matchroom would be able to stand alone without you when you're gone?
Not at all. Be a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has Joel Patel, obviously he's a fan favourite, obviously with the Riyadh season, massive share in September. Have you wanted Chris Smith for a potential unification?
Yeah, we'd like that. I mean, I think that His Excellency may look at the winner of Beterbiev against Bivol. He's mentioned that before. But of course, Jai doesn't really want to just keep having involuntary defences. He wants to be in the unifications. I think if you're a champion, you're not going to really target Jai Opetaia. That's the problem. You're going to target, is it Michelanian, whatever his name, or Michelaev, WBC champ, and Chris Smith, who's done remarkably well, by the way. But they're going to look at Ramirez and all the easier options. So it's going to come down to money, really. If you're Chris Smith now, you're free rolling every fight. So you're looking at it and saying, right, where's the biggest payday? And if that can come from Jai Opetaia, I'm sure he'll take it.
Working with Bilham Smith before, obviously, and I think Zerto might potentially be a free agent as well. Would the Chris Smith fight be the easiest one to make?
With Jai?
With Jai,
yeah. Or maybe Ramirez. But again, because it's Jai, they want a premium fighting him. Do you know what I mean? Like, boxing's not a sport or a business where they go, no, I want to fight the best. They're going, I just want the most amount of money. Like, everyone's different, but Bilham Smith, rightfully, is saying, I just want the most amount of money I can get. And unify, he's done amazing. And he deserves that unification shot as well.
Would that Riyadh season not be that free?
Probably, but it's what his perception is of what is a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? So we'll have to see.
Perfect. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe for more videos of your favorite fighters over here on Fight Up TV, and give us a follow online as well at Fight Up TV on Twitter and on Instagram. We appreciate it, guys.